When they make baseballs for the pros, they aren't just playing around. They build these balls precisely to league standards. And incredibly, those standards date back to 1872. Each ball is uniform in circumference and weight, so the game is an equal contest. Crowds will go wild for these professional baseballs, and at the heart of each one is something called the pill. The pill is smaller than a golf ball. It's about 4 1/4 inches in circumference. Inside the pill's rubber casing is a sphere of cork. They pour latex adhesive over hundreds of pills loaded into a drum. Rollers spin the drum to evenly coat the pills with the adhesive. This adhesive never dries out completely, and the pills remain sticky to the touch. Next, they loop 4-ply wool around the pill. This machine spins the pill to wind the yarn around it. This winding substantially fattens the pill. It's the first time a camera has ever been allowed to record this proprietary machine, so we can't show you all of it. They wind a second layer of wool around the pills. This yarn is 3-ply, and it thickens the ball a little more. For a third winding, they use another 3-ply yarn, but it's a bit lighter. The various layers of yarn are what give the baseball resilience, so it springs back into shape despite being hit repeatedly. For the final winding, they use a much thinner polywool blend because its surface is smoother. This wound pill is called the center. They weigh it and measure its circumference, which should be about 9 inches. They add adhesive to a spinning drum, then load the centers into it. As the centers tumble, they absorb the glue and the wound fibers adhere to each other. The centers air dry for 48 hours but remain sticky. Using this hydraulic press, they punch out figure-8 shapes from leather, complete with holes around the periphery, allowing them to be stitched into baseball covers. But first, they stamp the date and lot number onto them. Then they wrap them in wet towels. The moisture will make the leather pliable enough to sew. They roll the water-based adhesive onto one side of the cutouts, which sticks to the moist leather. They press 2 cutouts to the center sticky surface. It's an exact fit. They clamp the leather-clad ball in a vise, and it's time to sew. Working with 2 needles, the sewer pulls thread through the ball's center and up through the holes in the leather pieces to cross-stitch them together. He rubs wax on the thread to stiffen it, because if it slackens, it's more likely to tangle. When it comes to cross-stitching, these workers are in a league of their own. They make quick work of the 108 stitches in each ball. There are 350 sewers in this factory, and they produce 8,000 to 10,000 balls per day. That's a lot of home runs. The final stitch goes through the center of the baseball and out the other side. The sewer then pulls stitches into a V configuration to give the ball a consistent look and feel. The balls now roll into a press that smooths down the seams. Smoother balls are harder to grip, and they make pitching a bit tougher for the pros. Finally, a 3-headed stamper gives it the trademark, league logo, and the commissioner's signature. If you think a baseball bat is a pretty simple thing, well, you're out in left field. Making a bat means balancing things like weight and thickness. The material it's made from can make a difference. Metal bats hit the ball farther. However, the pros use wood bats because of league regulations, and even the type of wood might impact the score. Barry Bonds cracked a home run record in 2001 with a wood bat like this, one made of maple instead of the usual white ash. They can never tell just by looking at it that a chunk of maple has what it takes to make a good bat, so they weigh it to make sure the wood is really as thick and heavy as it appears. Next, pointed prongs grip the wood and spin it while a carbide cutter rounds it. This is a very modern lathe called an XY machine. The rounded blank goes into a room called the library, joining others on the shelf that are waiting for their chance at the big leagues. A worker selects one of the blanks to fill an order that specifies a certain model and size. He weighs it again to make sure it measures up to what the player has ordered. The blank goes onto the XY machine and spins. A computer guides the cutter as it moves on rails and carves into the blank. It whittles 1 inch of wood from the blank in order to form a handle. It takes a total of 3 passes on this cutter to make the rough shape of a baseball bat. But it's quick work, completed in just 3 minutes. Now it's time for another weighing in. The bat is substantially lighter, which is what they want. Next, he measures the end of a completed bat with a caliper. Using a square-edged scraper, he rounds the knob. As the bat spins on a more traditional lathe, he measures as he cuts. With another caliper, he checks the thickness of a completed bat and compares it to the one he's just carved. Now he takes a turning tool called a skew chisel. With its pointed tip, he cuts into the bat's handle just above the knob to narrow the shoulder. Again, he measures as he cuts to make sure the diameter is just right. Using the skew chisel, he shapes the slope of the bat, repeatedly checking with the caliper to make sure it meets specifications. He slims down the handle a little more. Then he angles the top of the knob with the chisel. He shapes the rest of it with a square-end chisel. Next, he curves the bat's barrel using the same tool. This gets rid of sharp edges that would cause a ball's impact to ripple down and jar the player. Then he goes back to the knob and completes the shaping with the skew-end chisel. Because the tool is extremely sharp, he can carve very precisely. The bat is now within a ½ ounce of its final weight. Using an electric sander, he smooths down some of the rough edges. He switches to a finer grit to finish off the job. As he sands, he measures, because this isn't just about getting the surface smooth. The bat has to be exactly the right size and weight for the player it's being made for. Now he places the bat's knob in an end mill. A spinning carbide disc cuts around the holes made by the pointed grippers on the lathes, producing a gentle scoop. Next, a bigger disc carves into the barrel, cupping it. Some players prefer a cup bat because it balances differently. Now he places the bat on the scale for the final weighing, and it is exactly what the player ordered. He brushes paint on the barrel and rubs stain into the lower half of the bat. He presses decals onto the bat so it sports both the brand name and distributor. Then he stamps the model number in gold ink and tops everything off with a light coat of varnish. Now this maple bat is ready for the big leagues and some heavy hitting. A baseball glove is an extraordinary thing. Each and every one starts out brand spanking new and ends up fitting its owner like a second skin. Before long, the player and his glove are inseparable. The glove helps him live his dreams and fills his imagination with lifelong memories. Baseball gloves have evolved from hard leather mitts to the sophisticated design players depend on today. It all starts with a hydraulic press that punches out the felt padding that will cushion the fingers and thumb. The holes will be used to lace the glove. Another press cuts out the palm section of the glove from a side of leather. The palm section also has lacing holes cut into it. The hydraulic press then cuts out the web or pocket of the glove, preparing it for lacing as well. Meanwhile, a machine heat embosses the palm section with the company logo. Embossing also helps identify different leathers and glove styles. Another worker hand weaves the front and back pieces of the pocket. This special basket weave web gives the glove additional flexibility and control. Pockets first appeared in gloves in the 1930s. She stitches the pocket together, then she applies glue to secure the tail ends, closes the flap, and stitches the web shut. Another worker then sews the palm lining and the finger lining together. By stitching the palm and finger linings together, she completes the interior piece of the glove that touches a player's hand. She then sews the felt finger pads to the lining. These pads give the glove extra comfort and control. To build the outer shell of the glove, she sews welting leather between the fingers. This makes the seam stronger. Then she sews the fingers and the palm piece together to complete the back part of the outer shell. Some leather softener helps prevent tearing as she stitches the back and the front parts of the outer shell together. She also uses welting leather to add strength and rigidity to the outer shell. A worker mounts the finished outer shell onto a finger form heated to about 248 degrees Fahrenheit. It takes heat and leather softener to allow the worker to manipulate the shell without damaging the leather. The worker then transfers the softened outer shell onto a stationary turning stick in order to turn the outer shell inside out. He works the outer shell one finger at a time, so he doesn't spoil the leather or the stitching. He makes sure all is perfect. Another worker slips the interior lining onto a mounting support, then covers the lining with the outer shell. He works the leather to make sure the lining and the shell fit together properly. Then he applies a special paste that makes the palm more flexible. He inserts a felt pad into the thumb. Then another cushioning pad into the pinky finger, using a metal rod to fully insert both pads. He then starts lacing the glove with a long strip of leather. Lacing the glove is a labor-intensive skill that can take up to an hour. No machine can do this. He makes sure the lacing gets the right tension and the attractive side of the leather faces upwards. Using special knots and loops, he laces the entire glove by hand. A worker inserts wooden dowels and mounts the glove on more hot fingers to open up the fingers and thumb. This helps the player's hand fit into the glove more easily. Now, this truly looks and fits like a glove. Today's baseball gloves come in all different colors and styles. They are so finely handcrafted, they could be called works of art.
On today's baseball diamonds, the ping of the aluminum bat is rivaling the crack of its wooden predecessor. The pros still use traditional wood, but outside the major leagues, the metal bat is a definite hit. Lightweight and durable, the metal bat has some definite advantages over wood. Production begins with aircraft-grade aluminum rods. These rods are sliced into short chunks called blanks. The blanks are loaded into a lathe with a computerized drill. The drill tunnels through the center of the blank as it spins. Then the blank undergoes what's called impact extrusion. With 300 tons of force, a shaping tool bores into the hole in the blank, stretching it to more than twice its length and giving it the basic taper of a baseball bat. The stretched bat blanks now tumble into a big perforated drum. The drum is lowered into a tank of soapy water. As it turns, water flows through its holes, washing away any oily residue. And now, for a real heavy hitter. This forming tool delivers 400-ton punch through the center of the bat blank. The aluminum stretches around the tool to the full length and shape of a baseball bat. A technician measures the bat to confirm that it's completely straight. If it's not, she applies a little hydraulic pressure to bend it into shape. This is a critical step because even a slightly crooked bat could throw the player off his or her game. Next, the bat goes into another computerized lathe. As it spins, a blade lops off the bat's end, cutting it to size. Another tool threads the inside for the end cap. The bat is locked into a holding device and a circular saw trims the handle end. Now that the bat has been correctly sized, it's time for a vigorous sanding. This gets rid of any small defects and roughs up the surface so paint will stick to it. They use heavy-duty paint because baseball bats have to stand up to a lot of abuse. The sanded bats go into a silkscreen machine that applies the trademark. Then it's over to the decal department. The decals are dipped into a solution that activates the glue. Then they're stuck into place. Now it's back under the paint gun for a clear coat of polyurethane. The plastic end cap is press-fit into the hollow barrel. An aluminum knob slides onto the handle end, and the assembly goes into an automated welding machine that fuses them together. Now for the grip. Synthetic leather is wrapped around the handle to provide a non-slip surface. And a little vinyl tape finishes the edge. From a solid little chunk of aluminum to a hollow metal baseball bat, this powerhouse is ready to hit one out of the park.